What brings you to town today?
We're here as part of the Northern Edge exercise. Thought it was a good opportunity to bring our marine mammals here to test them in a cold water environment.
How did they do with the cold water? Have you tested them in cold water before?
They participated in Northern Edge in Sitka last March or so. Did very well there. We got a lot of good information that allowed us to convince ourselves that they'll do well this year, so we're going to collect some more of that information this time too. We have spent a number of months acclimating the animals, as I said, 2 hours a day in colder water, just like the 2 hours they will spend here. Started off at 55 degrees and gradually lowered it to the temperature we thought would be probable here. We've been doing that for quite a few months to get the animals to build up their blubber layer, and so we think they'll do fine. They did fine last year here.
The military personnel are probably having a harder time.
Yeah, we're all having a terrible time. We're not used to this. It was 80 degrees in San Diego today. We could have been there, so that'll give you a hint.
Now you have pools inside here. Is that to sort of acclimatize them to the colder water?
No, the pools actually are to keep them warm at the water that's San Diego temperature. They're going to stay at that temperature 22 hours a day or so. In a couple of hours a day, they're going to be out in the colder water in the harbor here. Like in San Diego, they were in the normal water, 55 degrees or so, 22 hours a day. And a couple of hours a day, we put them in colder water to get them ready for this.
And what kind of training exercises are they going to be involved with?
The animals that are here are the swimmer defense system. These are animals that are trained to provide capability to find swimmers or divers coming in to attack something like a ship or a pier. Stationary target that divers might attack. The dolphins notify us that the swimmers are coming, and then we send out security guards to take care of them. The capabilities are there to stop the divers from coming in, and their job isn't to stop them. Their job is only to say they're coming, but we've been effective with that. They were there for Desert Shield, or prior to Desert Shield. We sent a set of animals to protect the 3rd Fleet flagship anchored in the harbor in Bahrain, and they were in Vietnam. So we were there as long ago as that. And the most important conflict and the most important target they protected was the Republicans at the National Convention in 1996. You remember 1996 was the year of the bombing at the Olympic Games in Atlanta. Secret Service was very concerned about what might happen. Crazy people copying that a couple weeks later. So they asked this system to be out there to protect, because the convention center in San Diego is right on the harbor. So the system, these dolphins were out there every night at the beck and call of the Secret Service to make sure nobody was out there in the water.
How are they transported here?
They came on a C-17 aircraft in what we call transporters. They're boxes 12 feet long by 3 feet by 3 feet with a little bit of water in them. The animal's suspended in a stretcher in there with its waist suspended in the water, so it's neutrally buoyant. The animal makes a very easy and comfortable trip that way.
So they don't get sick or anything like that?
No, not at all. We think the animals actually travel better than the human beings do. They seem to come out of it a lot better than people with jet lag.
Are you going to be going to the high school and some other places to show people in the community the dolphins?
I'm going to go out to 3 of the grade schools, to the junior high and the high school on Thursday and Friday to talk to the kids, show them a video and so on. We will have public visiting hours. The animals will be working at night, so we want them to be able to rest during the daytime, but afternoon there will be a couple of hours of time when the general public can come down and see them.
Is the Navy in charge of the animals, or are they trained by civilians? How does that work?
The civilians that are here are all Navy employees, so it's strictly a Navy program. Navy civilians manage the program, do the initial training, assist, as you saw Bob Stitt doing in there, with the military handlers who on an exercise or a real deployment actually send the animals out and work them.
Do the military personnel get extra training to work with the dolphins also?
You bet they do. We specifically select them based upon our belief that these are the people who would do well with animals. They have the capabilities, especially things like patience, which is really critical. And once we've done that, we put them through a rigorous training program before we let them work with the animals at all. And that training continues all the time. They, like the animals, are being trained every day, like you saw the trainer in there.
And do you have a vet that came along with them also?
We have 5 veterinarians for the Marine Mammal Program, 4 civilians, one of whom came, and a military and Army officer, because the Army is the only one that has veterinarians. So we have a civilian veterinarian who works for the Navy, an Army veterinarian, an officer, and 3 enlisted veterinary technicians who work for the Army. All of them just here to provide care. So it's one-on-one care for the animals. 5 of them and 5 medical people.
And how many people are involved in an exercise like this just for taking care of the dolphins?
We have the civilian organization that runs this Space and Naval Warfare Systems Center San Diego has about 12.5 people here, and the mobile unit, which is the military people, have probably 25 or 30 people, about half of whom will be actually working with the dolphins. You've got to figure all of us are here in this big tent we put up last night, and all of these things to support them. So it is an expensive program, but if you weigh that against what about if you lose a ship with all the people on it, or you have a dolphin who prevents you from losing the ship, how much is he worth then? Then he's worth many millions of dollars.
How long has the program been going on?
1959. The program was never top secret. I have talked about the program for many, many years. There were specific things when I said the animals are here to do swimmer defense. That used to be a secret. The words swimmer defense used to be a secret. The words mine hunting used to be a secret. None of those haven't been secret for 10 years. So no, we've always talked about the program. We've just been a little closed mouth for a long time about exactly what the animals are doing, and now we talk about them, totally.
Is the public's reaction to the program usually pretty positive?
Yes, we have an interesting story. My associate Alan Lewis, who's standing behind the camera there, and I stood for a long period of time on a hangar apron at Sitka with long lines of people waiting in the sleet and the hail and the snow and everything else, in bare sleeves mostly, so they could see the animals. So yeah, it's been a very good reaction for people who get a chance to get up and see the animals.